Northern Michigan premieres A Paper Tiger in the Rain.
Trouble at the White House. I'm Dan Campanen.
I'm Molly Lyford, and welcome to Public Eye News. Northern Michigan University will be putting on the world premiere of A Paper Tiger in the Rain Tuesday in the Black Box Theater. There were 150 entries this year in the Panowski competition, and Paper Tiger by David J. Swanson from Wichita, Kansas was chosen. The story centers on an editor-in-chief in a small-town newspaper who is struggling to keep the paper afloat in the face of the rise of digital journalism. Director Paul Chucky is bringing Swanson's story to life, where he has said he handed over his script and they have done wonderful things with it. A Paper Tiger in the Rain runs from September 30th to October 11th. An armed robbery suspect requested to dismiss his attorney, but the request has been denied. Bernard Fish and Donovan Wapoose are being tried for armed robbery after reportedly holding two Covington residents at gunpoint, demanding $10,000 in ransom. Fish's attorney sought to get a motion passed that would limit Wapoose's testimony. Fish then said he wished to dismiss his attorney and represent himself. The judge gave him a 15-minute recess to think this over, but in the end he stuck by it.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is giving more than $2.3 million to public housing residents in Michigan. This money will help many gain access to local services and improve their education and employment. The money is seeking to help those in public housing on a path towards self-sufficiency. The Michigan State Housing Development Authority is getting nearly $958,000. The Detroit Housing Commission is getting more than $263,000. A full list of recipients can be found online. Replenishing salt stockpiles is looking to be a serious challenge for many Midwestern states this year. The rewards of making it through the brutal winter of 2013 are tight supplies and a very drastic rise in the price of road salts. In some states, people are facing a doubling in price, and in some cases, the prices are even 5 times as high. Many cities are gearing up for another brutal winter. Cities from Boston to Raleigh have upped the salt supplies by nearly 20%. Some local governments are avoiding the problem by being close to salt sources or having already secured bids and previous contracts.
The Detroit Heidelberg Project outdoor installation has reported a fire. The fire was reported early Tuesday at what is known as the Birthday Cake House because of the many brightly colored cakes painted on the outside. Detroit's Fire Department Lieutenant Derek Tharp told the Detroit Press that the department was called on the scene on the city's east side early at about 5:15 a.m. The house remains standing, but fire damage is evident, mainly along the side and along the front door. Initial reports that something was thrown at the house to start the fire have not been confirmed. The Detroit Heidelberg Project was started in 1989 by Tyree Guyton in response to urban decay. Security has been stepped up because of several fires in the last year. A Minnesota man has died in a hang gliding accident in southern Wisconsin. Authorities say the 57-year-old man was hang gliding at an airport north of Whitewater on Monday when his glider was pitched to one side and took a nosedive of about 100 feet after entering a wind shear. Jefferson County Sheriff Chief Deputy Jeff Parker says the victim's wingtip struck another glider that was tethered to the ground, which caused the aircraft to flip. Parker told the Daily Union the man was visiting a friend in Whitewater, and both had gone hang gliding several times at Gutzmer's Twin Oaks Airport, which is home of the Whitewater Hang Gliding Cup. Parker says the man, who has not yet been named, was experienced in the sport. After the break, we'll have your national and international news. Stay tuned.
Nature's 3-part special presentation continues. From frozen ice to the scorching desert, baby penguins take their first steps To capture every moment, spy cams pop up in the most curious places. Some undercover cameras are a welcome part of the Penguin action. Others will ruffle a few feathers.
Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern.
And welcome back. The body of a missing Arkansas real estate agent was found in a shallow grave near Cabot early Tuesday. Aaron Lewis, the suspect in the abduction and slaying of real estate agent Beverly Carter, was escorted out of court today, telling reporters that he pleaded not guilty only because his attorney told him to. He said he wanted to plead guilty to the charges of kidnapping and capital murder because he, quote, just wanted all of this to be over, end quote. The 33-year-old Lewis from Jacksonville, Arkansas, was arrested by authorities on Monday. The Facebook page that has been set up for Miss Beverly has gained 28,000 followers and has become a place for fellow real estate agents and friends of the family to provide support. This isn't Lewis's first run-in with the law. He has a criminal history in northwestern Arkansas, including felony theft of property, failure to appear, and unlawful removal of a theft device. The Secret Service is conducting an investigation to find out how a man with a knife was able to jump the fence at the White House and run through the building before being stopped. Craig Boswell is in Washington, D.C. with more details.
Secret Service Director Julia Pearson is on Capitol Hill to explain to Congress how an intruder made it into the White House.
This is unacceptable, and I take full responsibility, and I will make sure that it does not happen again.
On September 19th, Omar Gonzalez scaled the White House fence and ran past armed guards into the building. The 42-year-old then overpowered another Secret Service agent and made it through to the East Room before finally being captured.
It's clear that our security plan was not properly executed.
But some lawmakers want to know why the security plan wasn't executed properly.
Inexplicably, Omar Gonzalez breached at least 5 rings of security on September 19th.
Some here on Capitol Hill also expressed outrage that the initial Secret Service response misled the public, that the intruder was stopped just inside the door. The statement even praised the agents for their tremendous restraint.
Tremendous restraint is not the goal and the objective. It sends a very mixed message. The message should be overwhelming force.
A full investigation of the incident is underway, but the details of the report aren't likely to be made public in order to keep certain security measures private. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The U.S. Department of Energy has formalized a plan to clean up the federal government's troubled nuclear waste dump in southeastern New Mexico after 8 months. The department is scheduled to release details of the plan that will outline what needs to be done to decontaminate the underground facility Tuesday afternoon. Shipments of plutonium-contaminated waste from federal installments across the country have been on hold since February at the waste isolation plant. A truck fire and unrelated release of radiation forced the closing of the plant several days later. The plant is the government's only permanent repository for nuclear waste, such as contaminated gloves, tools, and clothing from decades of nuclear bomb building. Officials say it could take up to 3 years to reopen the multi-billion-dollar site. Pro-democracy protests show no signs of stopping in Hong Kong as demonstrators filled the streets for a 5th day. CBS's Tina Kraus has the latest from London.
Tens of thousands of pro-democracy protesters rallied into the night in Hong Kong. They called on Chief Executive Leung Chye-ying to meet their demands for democracy or step down. The leader didn't budge. The central government will not comply with illegal threats, he said. Demonstrators want a democratic election in 2017 to choose their own chief executive. But Beijing's communist government wants to approve all candidates and says the student-led protests are illegal.
I'm here to support the students and the Hong Kong people.
The massive protests have brought one of the world's most important financial hubs to a standstill. Over the weekend, police in riot gear fired tear gas but failed to drive out the crowds.
We are not armed. We are not using violence.
Police are now taking a more light-handed approach, and demonstrations have remained peaceful. But protesters say unless China gives in or Hong Kong's leader gives up, The standoff will only get bigger. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And stay tuned because we'll be right back with your weather and sports.
In ancient Egypt, a pharaoh's superweapon.
The chariot represents a huge turning point in military history.
A marvel of technology.
That chariot is superbly designed. The suspension is terrific.
After 3,000 years, can modern engineers unlock its secrets?
A modern designer could not do any better.
Building Pharaoh's chariot on Nova.
Wednesday evening at 9.
Welcome back to Public Eye News, everybody. My name's Dane Wormlinger with your local weather. Well, it's finally starting to look like fall. We have cloudy skies, as you can see in the Academic Mall right behind me. It's pretty cloudy all over the UP. Most places don't have rain yet, but we will see some over the next couple of days. Right now in Marquette, it's about 43 degrees as your high, with winds north-northeast at 10 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure holding at 30.11 inches. Tonight, you can expect cloudy skies with a low of 39 degrees and winds south-southeast at 6 miles per hour. Looking into tomorrow, we can expect stormy skies with a high of 63 degrees and winds south at 15 miles per hour. Looking around the UP, right now in Sault Ste. Marie, it's 54 degrees as your high, 53 degrees in Manistee, in Escanaba, 49 degrees, and in Menominee, 44 degrees. In Iron Mountain, we have a high of 48, in Ironwood, 49 degrees, and in Houghton, sunny skies with 49 degrees. And right back here in Marquette, it's 43 degrees with cloudy skies. Looking ahead, on Thursday, we have a high of 63 degrees and a low of 50. On Friday, we have a high of 58 degrees and a low of 35. And on Saturday, we have a high of 43 and a low of 32, and all of those days will be rainy. Well, the weather's looking pretty rough, but are any athletes having a rough time out there?
Yep, there's one specific athlete that might be in trouble right now. We'll start off with some breaking news on Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps was arrested early this morning and charged with driving under the influence, excessive speeding, and crossing double lanes on the I-95 freeway in Baltimore. Authorities said that he wasn't able to pass a series of standard sobriety tests and that Phelps was cooperative throughout the process. The NMU men's golf team placed 9th out of 34 teams after one round yesterday at the Great Lakes Midwest Regional at Harborside International Golf Course in Chicago. The Wildcats were paced by senior Ayrton Mantha, who shot an even par 72 to finish in a tie for 11th place. Sophomore Emil Lundgren was second on the NMU squad, shooting 2 over at 74 to finish in a tie for 26th place. Other members who managed to place were freshman Austin Elsner, senior Ben Johnson, and Dustin Dishaw. And the Detroit Red Wings shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-0 last night. And that is all for sports. Riley Sherhan had a goal and an assist, and Nick Jensen and Thomas Jukro also scored. Jensen and Sherhan also each had a power play goal in the second period. The Red Wings play next on Wednesday at the Joe at 7:30. So definitely a lot of things going on in sports.
Yep, and that's all the time we have for you today here at Public Eye News. We hope you tune in again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.